The CME Group just went dark. Not a glitch, not maintenance, dark. And if you don't know what that means, let me spell it out for you. The Chicago Mercantile Exchange is the largest derivatives marketplace in the world. It's where trillions of dollars in futures contracts trade every single day. Oil, gold, currencies, stock indices, everything. And their reporting system just stopped working at the worst possible time. Markets are about to open. And nobody knows what's happening behind the curtain. I'm going to show you why this isn't just a technical issue, why the timing is suspicious as hell, and why what happens in the next 48 hours could trigger a chain reaction that most investors won't see coming until it is already too late. This is either the biggest operational failure in modern market history or something way worse. And either way, you need to understand what's at stake before the opening bell. Let's get into it. All right, let's start with what actually happened. On the evening of February 1st, 2026, the CME Group's market data reporting system went offline. Not slow, not delayed, offline. The system that reports real-time positions, open interest, volume, all the data that traders and institutions use to make decisions, just stopped. The official statement from CME was vague. Technical difficulties, working to restore service, no impact on trading. But here's the thing, when a system this critical goes down, there's always an impact. Because even if trades are still executing, nobody can see what's happening. And in markets, information is everything. Now, CME has backup systems, redundancies, fail-safes. This is not some startup running on AWS, hoping nothing breaks. This is a decades-old institution that handles trillions in notional value. Their infrastructure is built to survive nuclear war, so when something like this happens, it's not an accident. It's either catastrophic incompetence or something intentional. And the timing makes it worse. We're in the middle of a massive deleveraging event. Hedge funds are unwinding positions. Volatility is spiking. The VIX hit 45 2 days ago. And right in the middle of all this chaos, the one system that's supposed to provide transparency goes dark. People are calling it a hack. And honestly, that's the most logical explanation. Because if it was just a system failure, they would have fixed it by now. But it's been over 12 hours and we're still in the dark. That tells me they either don't know what happened or they know and they're not saying. Let's talk about what the CME actually does, because most people don't realize how critical this infrastructure is. The CME is where the world hedges risk. If you're an airline and you want to lock in fuel prices, you buy oil futures on the CME. If you're a pension fund and you want to hedge against a market crash, you buy S&P 500 put options on the CME. If you're a bank and you want to manage interest rate exposure, you trade treasury futures on the CME. It's not just speculators. It's the entire financial system using these markets to function. And when the reporting goes dark, nobody knows who's holding what. Nobody knows how much exposure is out there. Nobody knows if positions are being liquidated or if margin calls are piling up. And here's where it gets dangerous. Markets run on confidence. When confidence breaks, everything breaks. And right now, confidence is hanging by a thread. We've got inflation still above target. We've got the Fed talking about rate hikes again. We've got geopolitical tensions escalating, and now we've got the most important market infrastructure in the world going offline. If traders wake up Monday morning and they still don't have visibility into positions, into open interest, into what's actually happening in the derivatives market, they're going to panic. And when institutions panic, they don't buy. They sell everything. Now, let's talk about the hack theory, because if this was a cyber attack, it's not just a market problem. It's a national security problem. The CME isn't just some exchange. It's critical infrastructure. It's defended by layers of security, government oversight, the works. If someone penetrated that, it means they're sophisticated, state-level sophisticated. Who would want to do this? Let's think about who benefits. Russia's been cut off from Western financial markets. China's been talking about undermining dollar dominance. Iran, North Korea, they've all got cyber capabilities and motives. If you wanted to destabilize US markets without firing a shot, hacking the CME and creating chaos would be a pretty effective move. But here's the other possibility. What if it wasn't an external hack? What if it was internal? What if someone inside the system realized there's a problem so big that the only option was to shut down reporting before it became public? Think about it. What if there's a massive margin call situation brewing? What if a major institution's about to blow up and the only way to prevent immediate contagion is to cut off the information flow? I'm not saying that's what happened, but it's happened before. In 2008, they shut down short selling to stop the bleeding. In 2020, they halted trading multiple times. When the system is on the edge, authorities do extreme things. And if that's what this is, if this is a controlled blackout to prevent panic while they figure out how to manage a crisis, then what happens when the lights come back on? Because eventually they have to. And when they do, the truth comes out. Let's talk about what this means for you. If you're holding leveraged positions, futures, options, anything on margin, you need to understand that you're flying blind right now. You don't know what the real exposure is across the system. You don't know if there's a liquidation wave coming. And if there is, it's going to hit fast. If CME reporting comes back online and reveals massive unwinding, massive short interest, or massive concentrated positions that are about to implode, we could see a flash crash. We could see circuit breakers trip. We could see volatility that makes last week look calm. And if you're in cash, if you're sitting on the sidelines, this might be your moment. Because chaos creates opportunity. When everyone else is panicking, when margin calls are forcing sells, that's when you find assets at discounts. But you have to be ready. You have to have a plan. Here's what I'm watching. First, the VIX. If it spikes above 50 when markets open, that's a signal that institutions are scrambling for protection. Second, the dollar. If the dollar surges, it means there's a liquidity crisis and everyone's running to safety. Third, gold. If gold spikes while everything else is tanking, that's fear. That's systemic distrust. And fourth, the headlines. If CME comes out and says, all clear, just a technical glitch, but the data shows weird anomalies, concentrated selling, or gaps in reporting, that's a red flag. It means something happened that they don't want to talk about. Now let's talk about the bigger picture. Because even if this gets resolved, even if markets open and everything seems fine, this event is a warning. It's a warning that the infrastructure we rely on is fragile. It's a warning that the system is stretched. And it's a warning that when trust breaks, everything can unravel fast. We're living in the most leveraged financial system in history. Derivatives exposure is over 600 trillion. That's not real money, that's notional, but it's still exposure. And all of that exposure is tracked, cleared, and settled through systems like the CME. If those systems fail, even for a day, the whole thing can seize up. This is why I keep saying you need to own hard assets. Physical gold, physical silver, things that exist outside the system. Because when the system glitches, when it goes dark, when nobody knows what's real anymore, the only things that matter are the things you can hold. The dollar is a ledger entry. Your stocks are a ledger entry. Your bank account is a ledger entry. And if the ledger goes dark, what do you have? But gold, silver, real estate, those are real. They exist whether the system works or not. So here's where we are. The CME is dark. Markets are about to open. And we have no idea what's going to happen. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe they flip the switch, everything's fine, and we all move on. But maybe it's not. Maybe this is the first crack. Maybe this is the moment everyone looks back on and says, that's when we should have known. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know if this is a hack, a glitch, or a controlled blackout, but I know this. The timing is terrible. The silence is suspicious. And the stakes are higher than most people realize. If you're not prepared for volatility, get prepared. If you're overexposed, reduce risk. If you're sitting in cash, waiting for an entry, have your list ready. Because when this resolves, one way or another, there's going to be movement. The people who are positioned correctly are the ones who win. The screen can lie. The data can go dark. But the market always tells the truth eventually. And when it does, you better be ready. Thanks for watching. If you want to stay ahead of these market-shaking events before they hit the mainstream, hit that subscribe button. Next week, I'm breaking down why the commercial real estate collapse is accelerating faster than anyone's talking about. You won't want to miss it. Drop a comment. Do you think this was a hack, a glitch, or something worse? I read everyone. I'll see you in the next video.